Hey, hello friends. Thank you for joining me again today. Let's see if I can get some sound monitor happening here. Welcome to those of you on my normal crew on YouTube and my new viewers perhaps on we got a lot of static, don't we? Okay, hang on. Let's see if we can fix that. So far, no. Try this. There we go. That's the culprit. What that means is I'll be able to broadcast sound on Facebook as long as that battery lasts. So without notification, I will be disappearing on you. Hopefully not for a long time. So welcome. At least we do have sound. Let's see if we get some a monitor going on both. It'll take a little while, so bear with me. So let's get official and do the official clapper. Daily Art Adventure number 866. Woohoo! Which I've called, which got erased by my finger, Final Tweaks and Big Cheats. All right, now if any of you have been following me for the last several days, you know that I'm doing 5 portraits all at the same time. By the way, this is my coronavirus special. I would love to do a portrait for you as well. I'm doing 5, and let me see, I just was doing a little bit of finishing tweaks on my good friend Kim Coley here. And again, waiting for notifications on my laptop so I can see your chats. There we go. So I have YouTube finally up and running. This is Kim. This is one of the 5 portraits, and I'm happy to say that I'm quite happy with it. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see what I've done. This is her photograph. Not a very good photograph. And I feel like I've done a good job of capturing her. Someone said yesterday that the photograph looks better than no, other way around. The painting looks better than the photograph. That, of course, is always what we hope for. We don't always get what we hope for in portraits, in which case, by the way, you keep working until you do get that eventuality. Okay, I'll be talking a whole lot about that in this broadcast. My new invention here just this week, using a blending stub with Gamsol on it to do a little bit of tweaking. And there are just a few things on this portrait that I want to address and fix fairly quickly before I move on to other things. Of the 5 portraits, this is the one that went the most smoothly. I didn't require any quote-unquote cheater. Again, we'll be talking more about that here in a minute, but on this particular portrait, feel like I was able to achieve a good likeness without doing anything heroic or desperate by way of what I call cheating. Nice when that happens. I wish it happened all the time. If I were a full-time portrait painter, I'm assuming my percentage would get much, much higher. But it's not, alas, at least at this point in my career, it's not my full-time, so I have to do what I have to do to get a portrait finished, even if that means, again, what I call cheating. But again, I didn't do any cheating on this one, so that's a nice feeling. Nice when that happens. Doesn't, of course, does not always happen. Okay, and this one's already signed. Oh wait, I'm sorry, there was a little bit way down here on this. Oh, red, that's a nice color, dark red. There was something on this little podium. There we go. All right, Kim Coley is done. While we're keeping score, I'll just show you quickly. I don't think I'm going to even touch these other two portraits, but I'll show them to you. Two of the five. This is Jessica, lovely bride. She was married several years ago and had no portrait, not even a nice photograph of her. So I had to put this together in Photoshop and then create that painting, and I was quite happy with how that turned out. And here is the surprise. There's Chewy. Oh, I didn't even show you a photograph of Jessica, did I? But that's right. Trust me, it looks just like her. Might be a tiny, tiny, tiny bit flattering. I mean, she's a lovely lady, don't get me wrong. But I think they'll be happy. And here's Chewy. You may have seen me finish this last night. Once again, if I've done anything with Chewy, I've perhaps made his eyes just a tiny scrunch bigger, which makes him a little cuter. And I don't think my client will recognize that they're larger. In fact, I'm not even totally sure they are. But if they're too large or too small, they're clearly not too small. Anyway, I'm quite happy with Chewy and can't wait to get that one on my website, because I have very, very few. I think 2 pet portraits at the moment. Now this one isn't exactly one of the 5. But it is one I've worked on in this past week. This is my granddaughter Lake. Of course, now that I've done Lake, I have to do the other 3 grandchildren as well. But I've got one done, and I'm afraid I don't have a photograph right nearby. It should be around here somewhere. I just looked there, didn't I? So often I'll stick photographs inside the back of the canvas for safekeeping, but evidently I didn't do that here. Anyway, trust me, it looks just like I did this, most of it about a year ago, and then last week tweaked it, and it's significantly better than it was. And there was essentially no cheating on this one at all, just very careful analysis of the photograph. Okay, so those are all the photographs those are all the portraits where I come off smelling like a rose. Like, dang, I'm good. All right? And as I've been saying all week here, I'm not making any pretenses. I'm not pretending to be anything that I am not when it comes to portraiture. I am what I am, and I am no better than that. This is Jefferson, and And in a minute, the one you're going to watch me work on is going to be JJ. All right, and sad for my ego, I did a pretty bad job. Well, hello, Kaz. Sandoval and Bergeron playing at a cancer fundraiser. Great stuff. That's good. That's interesting. And I don't have a video coming up yet here. So this one is nearly finished. I've worked on it a couple hours already today. When I left you yesterday, none of the background was done, so I did that last night. But when I came back to it today, I realized that on the face, I needed to do some some serious cheating. So let me point this at myself, because I want to talk to you guys for a second. This is especially, as you know, I'm always interested in talking to students, or early journey, as I call them, early journey painters, and in this case, early journey portrait painters. Forgive me, if you've been watching me, you've heard this speech several times. Here it is. All cheating is legal. Cheating is measuring, projecting, tracing, using any kind of proportional divider, a proportional machine like that, proportional dividers like this. This is a very mild cheat, mind you, but a cheat nonetheless. It's all legal. So go ahead, do it, do whatever you need to do to get the job done. But remember, the more you cheat, the more your skills are deteriorating. And if you're like me, that freaks you out. I do not want my skills deteriorating, so I cheat as little as possible. Part of the reason I'm doing these portraits really cheap, and I'll do yours, $300, not for this size, but the others, $350 per person. So coronavirus special. Part of the reason I'm doing this is because I want to practice. I want the practice of doing portraits. So I've already shown you 4 portraits down there on the floor that I feel good about myself. I nailed it with virtually no cheating on those 4. Just when my ego is starting to feel pretty good, I have a disaster with these last 2. Okay? So what does that mean? Well, that means I have to pull out some cheater techniques. In my opinion, and my opinion's right, you'll agree with me, you cannot release portraits to your clients if it doesn't look like the person. Are you with me? Amen? It's bad, really bad for business. And I was having a hard time with these 2 little guys, brothers. And as much as I hated to admit it and do it, I said, okay, I got to pull out some serious cheats. So, and there's all kinds of ways to cheat, and I'm going to just show you how I cheated. But do you understand why don't I cheat at first? Because I want my brain to get bigger. So I've done that, but I failed to succeed. Is that a fair way to put it? Failed to succeed on this painting. So here's what I did. I took a ruler. This is really esoteric. No, I'm being facetious. This is not esoteric at all. I measured. Okay, that is 5 3/4 inches tall. Then I went over to my computer, which is right behind me, here on my desk, and I fiddled and fiddled. Oh, that's not it. Here it is. And I fiddled and fiddled. Sorry, I got the wrong kid. Hang on. That's because that's who I'm going to be doing here shortly. All right, here we go. So, is this the right one? Yeah. So I printed out at exactly the right size. You following me? That's pretty easy, right? Get this, that size. I'm not sure this is the right one. I think it is, yeah. But we're not done yet. Then I've got a piece of acetate, laid it on top of this photograph, And with a Sharpie marker, can you see that? I traced all the major lines. Please understand, this is massive cheating. Like cheat, 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 cheat. Embarrassing. I seriously considered not showing you guys this because this is just embarrassing. There's only one thing more embarrassing, so to speak, as far as being as a portrait painter. Only one thing more embarrassing than having to cheat to this degree. What's that? That is releasing a portrait that's bad, releasing a screw up, delivering a screw up to my client. Are you with me? That would be way more embarrassing. So again, the point I want to make across, if you have to cheat, you cheat. Okay? And I just showed you, woo-hoo, I did 4 portraits, there's no cheating, so my brain is growing. In fact, my brain is growing more on the screw-ups than it is on the ones that I didn't screw up on. All right, so again, but I just want you to see how much of a radical cheat this is. And of course, give you guys permission, not you need my permission. And then now this won't show you much because I've already made all the corrections here. In a minute, I'm going to do this very thing to the next one. But just because it was the easiest way to do it, then I slapped the acetate on top of my painting, took a black pencil, and basically drew everything. And there were a number of changes. One of the biggest was that the top of his mouth was too high, so I had to lower the top of his mouth. I had to lower his chin a tiny bit. And beyond that, I can't remember what I did. Each of the eyes, my eyes, were a little too big, so I had to carve down the size of his eyes a little bit. But the good news is, and I don't know if any of you are watching, we've had a little conversation with my clients already today. That's a likeness. This, finally now, I am confident, this looks pretty much exactly, is that a right term? This looks like, forgive me, I'm still trying to pull up my Facebook page. This looks exactly like Jefferson. It's a dead ringer. In fact, the painting now, finally, the values are a little better than the photograph and so on and so on and so forth. All right, so, and then I used, after I got that done, then I used this proportioner to get the body all the right size. Even that was the wrong size. Once again, embarrassment, humiliations galore, as they say in The Princess Bride. Now, you get to watch me do this exact same thing and hang on, I'm still looking for, I'm trying to get I'm not sure why Facebook takes so long. Oh, no, I am broadcasting and there's 8 people watching. Welcome. I don't know why it takes so long for it to register on my computer, but for some reason it does. I'll get there eventually, hang on. All right, so here we go. I've done the same process. I printed off this little guy's face at the right size. I think it's, no, it's not that one. It's way too big. Forgive me. Is it this one? No. Okay, it doesn't matter. I don't need to show you because I'm done with that already. I printed it off the right size. Then I put acetate on top of the photograph. And then with a Sharpie marker, I draw the lines. Now, and this is pretty typical. So this is right where I'm at with JJ. And what I say to myself Because, let me get off subject just a little bit. How does one's art career make progress? There is a formula. I blogged about this just the other day. There's a formula. I said it's 10 heaping teaspoons of encouragement for every one level-headed, level teaspoon of correction, criticism, and so forth. So, to that end, now I've already lined this up. I've decided that the eyes are the most accurate part of my painting. And I would first of all like to say, yay, good for me, a little bit of encouragement. Hooray for me. I'm not a complete idiot. This ear is perfect. This side of the cheek is perfect. Chin is perfect. This side of the mouth is perfect. This side of the mouth is wrong. The biggest mistake is, of all things, is this cheek over here. This ear, is a 1/4 inch too high. That's pretty bad. Hairline, nah, not so close. And outside of that, circumference is pretty close, all except right there. So, in other words, I'm giving myself a score. Whoops, I missed the nostrils when I copied that. So now I really do want to find the photograph that I printed off to make these corrections from. Bear with me just a minute. I'm sorry. Evidently, I missed. This is way too big, and this is too big also, right? Oh, well, that might be the right size. Hang on. Let's check this out. Well, we're getting some static there, aren't we? Isn't that too bad? Hello, Uncle 60. Yeah, thank you. Not bad for a rookie. Thank you. Exactly. Do I know some artists who do portraits? Yes. First of all, the best I've ever seen are the Chinese guys in Manhattan. Old, and I spoke with them. I didn't know what nationality they were. I asked them, say, what? I saw these Asian guys, and so I just asked them, what nationality are you? And they were Chinese. Old guys, and they were freaky. They did, portraits of people right on the spot, and they were so good. Now, maybe they do mess up sometimes, but they sure didn't mess up when I was there. Okay, I had failed. Whoops. Okay, bear with me. I'm sorry. While I walked away, my photograph fell down, didn't it? And got paint on the back of it. I'll fix that in a minute. All I'm trying to do here is render and we have some static. I can hear that. Hang on, I'll do what I can about it in just a minute. All right. And now that those images are messed up, bear with me again. I'm over here at my computer. I need to print off a clean copy of JJ's head. Okay, well, let's see if I can get rid of that static. There we go. So once again, we'll broadcast until we run out. All right, so I'm pretty bad on his nose. One nostril is just about perfect. The other is quite imperfect. I am telling my printer to print off another copy. Okay, the biggest mistake by far is this cheek. And in all fairness, last night, yesterday afternoon, this little guy's grandmother said to me, I don't know if I sort of hope she's not listening right now, but it's okay if you are. But she said to me, his cheek needs to be fuller. And I noted that. Let me tell you, and this is at the risk of being mildly offensive to my client who may be watching, but I already said this yesterday. Here's why you can't believe, I shouldn't say that. Here's why you can't take at face value especially when a non-artist gives you a tip. First of all, her verbiage was completely inappropriate. Now, it's exactly what you expect from a non-artist. So again, I'm not being critical, because if someone's not an artist, what do you expect? You don't expect anything else. But let me talk to you artists for a minute, because you are the ones who I want to teach here with this all the time. She said, JJ's cheeks need to be fuller. Now, she was truly seeing something authentic and real as grandmother, and it turns out the biggest mistake in this painting was, in fact, this line right here. But the term, I want to talk to you artists here. I've already gone through this routine, but I want to go through it again, and I wish I could get my Facebook monitor up and running so I can see if indeed, no, that's yesterday. There we go. There we go. Finally. All right. So Jennifer is Jennifer is watching, and let's talk to you artists. If you want to be a decent portrait painter, I'm serious as I can be, you listen to me. You excise out of your language completely. This is what you cannot say in your inner talk. Now, when you're talking to a client, you can say this, but when you're trying to do a portrait, here's what your brain cannot say. Your brain cannot use anatomical terms. When you're trying to get a portrait right, you don't say, something wrong with the nose, eye, ear, head, cheek, forehead, chin. All of that language is not only worthless, it is actually damaging to your skill. Okay? You need to change your terminology completely to purely abstract terms. Because if you say things like I, then out of your filing cabinet of your visual bank, memory bank, comes up a picture of an eye, and it obscures your visage of what you're looking at. Hang on, let me continue to make these corrections here. Now, again, when you're speaking to a non-artist, of course, a non-artist is going to use anatomical terms like his cheek needs to be fuller. But that exact language, again, is not only worthless to the artist and inwardly. I'm talking about your inner talk when you're talking to yourself. You don't say, the cheek needs to be fuller, because that could mean anything. It could mean any aspect of this shading. Do you understand? Effects. There's all kinds of lines that affect quote unquote fullness. So you don't want to do that. It turns out I have the biggest mistake on this is, in fact, this curve right here. So what is correct terminology would have been, and again, I don't expect this from a non-artist, but if I had seen it myself, and I'm really embarrassed about this mistake, trust me, what you say is this line right here needs to move down and to the right about 1/4 of an inch. Do you hear the difference? You don't say, cheek needs to be fuller. Cheek, worthless terminology. Fuller, way worse than worthless terminology. What you say is, this curve needs to, at its apex, needs to move down and to the right about a 1/4 inch. Now again, I don't expect that from any client in the world. Now the reason, and I was sounded a little harsh a while ago, and I continue sounding harsh for just a few minutes, the reason you can't put your weight down on a non-artist's response is because they, like you, most of the time you're wrong. I had an example of this just yesterday. Let me pull up little Chewy, the dog, just for a minute. Because if you were watching me yesterday, you watched me go through, or day before, I don't remember, you watched me go through this exact process. This exact thing happened. I was doing finishing touches, and I said to you guys, as I said to myself, I'm afraid his muzzle is too long. This was either I think it was yesterday, okay? I said, I think his muzzle is too long. So I took this photograph right here. It's plastic coated, and with a ruler, I drew a line and a Sharpie marker, extra fine. I drew a line from center of pupil to center of pupil, and then I could measure from there down to the middle of his nostrils. I understand it was very, very technical. And then I used my proportional tool, which I'm not going to show you how to use today. I'll do it later, perhaps, but trust me, this gets the proportions right. And I measured my painting, because inside I'm thinking, I think the muzzle is too long. I measured, and to my great relief, I was dead on. The line from his eyes to his nostrils was perfect. Whew, what a relief. But then what I realized was there was a line here and a line here. Now, do you see the terminology I'm using now? I'm not saying cheeks or muzzle. By the way, the only reason I was saying muzzle a minute ago, so you would know what I was talking about. But what I really meant was I was afraid this elongation, this line was too long. But it turns out it wasn't that this was too long, this was too narrow. Now so all I had to do was widen this a little bit, and then bingo, I had it perfect. So that's an example. I remember learning this lesson in portraiture probably when I was in my 20s, struggling to do portraits. And of course, and again, it's never been my full-time job, or I'd be better at it. But I remember clearly learning this lesson 40 years ago. Forehead, palm to forehead. Oh my gosh. I thought this or that was wrong, but I was completely wrong. Do you understand? So you need to understand that about yourself, first of all. Don't trust your own judgment, because many times it's not what you think it is, it's something else. And so that's why, how much less can you trust, a non-artist to make. You take it on advisement, you go, they are seeing something. Like yesterday, the grandmother said, cheeks too, and of course, she was exactly right. But I didn't know what, anyway. Am I making sense? I hope I am. All right, there's just a few other little changes I need to make to this face. One is, unfortunately, the eye's a little too tall. This eye is perfect. This eye needs to move, the inside of it needs to move that way about a 16th, 3/30 seconds to be exact. The top of the eye is a little too high. Well, be that as it may, let's just start painting, all right? Khalid, yeah. No, I can't leave it. I honestly cannot leave it the way it is. My own, pride, ego, pride, I don't mean bad ego, but, my own inner person. Well, let's take care of the main one first, which is this cheek. And you can ask me, is this embarrassing? Are you embarrassed that you missed this by a country mile? My answer is, heck yeah! What do you think? I seriously considered no, I'm sorry, I'm exaggerating now. the thought flitted through my mind, it's more accurate, about saying, oh man, I don't want to show everybody how bad I am. So the thought flitted through my mind briefly about fixing it all, fixing these boys, without showing you what I had to do to fix them. But honestly, I didn't consider it very seriously, because I thought, no, this is precisely the kind of thing that early journey painters need to see. And plus, you and I both know, you guys, some of you, are encouraged to see me make a mistake and then how to fix it. Just like when I saw Daniel Green make a complete boner of a mistake. Just like, bonk. Wrong, Daniel. He's one of the biggest big dog portrait painters in the world. And I saw him make a mistake. He made, on a friend of mine, he made the Philbin too short, plain and simple. So, and that was very encouraging to me. Not because we're in competition and I want other people to screw up so it makes me feel, no, just because it makes me go, oh, because I'm kind of embarrassed. I think, am I the only person that struggles this way? And sometimes it's good to know, oh, good, no, I am a mere mortal among mere mortals. And so that's a little encouraging. Do you follow me? So that is the main, sorry, I'm having trouble with my brushes, hang on. That's the main thing I want to convey today. So if my battery quits and we go black in a second, you've already heard pretty much everything I needed to share. Now, okay, I guess I just thought of something else I need to share. After I make all these adjustments, which I'm going to do with the plastic, as you can see, in place, after I make all these adjustments, then I'll take the plastic off. And what do I do then? Well, guess what? I'm back to painting by eyeball. And this, I'm convinced, is part, at least, this is part of what some people mean when they protest about my use of the word cheating. I'm not going to stop using the word cheating because it's the best description of what I'm doing here. This is a massive cheat. But sometimes early journey painters, they want to say, no. And part of the reason, it's a very valid reason, is because even after doing all this cheating, quote unquote, even after doing all this cheating, we artists discover that there's still plenty of room to screw up, to put it bluntly, or to put it more benevolently, there's still lots of work to be done to achieve a satisfactory likeness. Do you understand? So that's the way this is going to be. Once I've done, I just scribbled in, for instance, that cheek. Whoops, that's the wrong color on my brush. I thought it was. So now I really have work to do. Don't worry about it. That's an easy fix. Once I've finished doing all this stuff, doing a quick correction, then again, my point is, then I'll remove the plastic and we'll be back to business as usual, by which I mean painting by eyeball.